Okay, thank you. A closed session was held with regards to two items and direction was given to staff. So moving on to Public Works Report, 11.1.1 is regarding a Asset Management Plan 2025 capital budget update. Mr. Wolf, please.
Thank you, Worship. This is an update on a capital project we have. It's actually a carryover from 2024. OREG 58817 is a provincial regulation requiring asset management plans of municipalities, public entities in Ontario. And there's various requirements in the regulation. There's a requirement in 2025 that we update our asset management plan to reach out to the public and present to them the asset management plan that was adopted last year that established our existing levels of service that we provide with our infrastructure. And the idea is that we get feedback from the community and adjust or update our asset management plan based on that input. And then we present that input to council. The budget was a carryover from 2024, and once we got into the first meeting with Hemson Consulting, who was helping us along with the project, it was clear that I had underestimated how much effort was required for the financial analysis component of the asset management plan update. So we are requesting that council approve a budget increase of 16,000 to be funded from the Canada Community Building Reserve Fund. That is the old gas tax grant. And I believe that is all I have. If there's any questions?
Okay. Questions regarding the asset management plan? Okay, seeing nothing, I'll put the motion on the floor that PW 10-2025 Asset Management Plan 2025 Capital Project Budget Report be received, and the council approves a variance of $16,000 to be incurred in the delivery of this project to be funded from the Canada Community Building Fund Reserve Fund. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, seconded Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Just for the record, Mr. Wolf, it's very difficult for me to sit with these cookies in front of me and not open the box, actually, so I'll just say Next item is Elgin Street reconstruction, please.
Thank you, Worship. This is our road reconstruction project for the year. So we released the tender and closed it on March 12th. We had really good interest in this one. We ended up with 10 bid submissions from contractors. The low bid ended up coming from ASG Excavating Incorporated for a bid price of $915,207.53. The budget for this project was $1,001,000. By the time we include other costs outside of the construction contract, like engineering and geotechnical, we expect that the project will be under budget in the area of $66,827. So that's good news. We reviewed some references for ASG Excavating Incorporated. They haven't actually worked for the town in the past, but we called their references. We received good feedback, and we are recommending that council award the contract to ASG Excavating Incorporated.
Thank you. Questions from council? Can I just ask about the trees, because it may come up, Jeff? Have we, the arborists, do they see disease, or is it age, or is it one of these situations where you cut in the tree and it's going to be half gone? Just because councillors may get a call about something like this, right? For, even though they are probably weeds at their core, Norway maples, the questions are going to come up.
Yes, yes, people are always passionate about trees, and we try our best to preserve them wherever possible. In this case, there are there's 4 Norway maples between King Street and James Street on the south side of the road. We are going to attempt to save 3 of them. So we are not going to be removing 3 of them. They're all have various levels of degradation. One of them has started to split in half. So it's a safety concern, and we will have to remove that before it removes itself. On the north side of the road, there's actually a couple of other silver maples where there's significant hollow in the trunk of the tree with pretty significant weight above it, and there's a hydro line that would be at risk, and then there's also other signs of degradation where we have concerns about we even without a reconstruction project, we have concerns about the longevity of any of those trees that we're looking at. But what we'll do, we will have after council awards the contract, we'll have a public handout that we do for the neighborhood, and we'll explain, and the individuals with trees in their front yards that we have concerns about we'll knock on the door, and we'll make sure we have a conversation with them prior to doing any of that work.
Okay, thank you for that update. Appreciate that. Anything further from council? Council Lucas?
Thank you, through the mayor. Jeff, I was just gonna say, I'd like to see that people that have worked in the town in the past are continuing to submit bids with the town. So I think that speaks well to both the town and our consulting engineers.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from council? Okay, so then I'll put the motion on the floor if everyone's okay, is that PW 23-2025 Elgin Street Reconstruction Tender Award Report be received, and that the tender for the Elgin Street Reconstruction project be awarded to ASG Excavating Inc. for the procured price of $915,207.50, inclusive of all taxes and contingencies, and that council consider bylaw 20-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the associated agreement with ASG Excavating Inc. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Alward, seconder. Councillor Craig Mile. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to councillor reports. We'll just go around the table as we traditionally do. There is one item to be raised, and that's with regards to a public meeting from PAC, and if either of the members on PAC wish to speak to that in the report, that'd be appreciated. And I'll start with Councillor Craigmile, please.
Thank you, Worship. Guess I'll start with Blue Water Resources. Now, most of you did receive an email sometime in the last 3 weeks or so about possible strike. It hasn't been finalized yet, but what I can tell you is there won't be a strike. The only thing, it's gone to an arbitrator. It's just they're very close over the 3 years. I mean, ridiculously close, and let the arbitrator decide. That's the only issue. So there will be no strike. So that's just the way it is. So other than that, at Blue Water, everything's running fairly smoothly. If you do happen to see a few more buckets down after they've get picked up, that's going to happen because I do believe there's 4 or 5 new drivers, and it takes a while to get used to the joysticks of how things are going and whatnot. So anyways, any other questions, I can answer those. Upper Thames. The notes in your package are from approximately a month ago, which I think I already talked about, although they're actually in February. I wasn't at that meeting because I was away, but it was their annual general meeting. They passed the budget, that approximately 15% or whatever it was. And other than that, at the AGM, it's just a matter of, there's a bunch of awards given out to people in the communities that do stewardship and whatnot. So it's all in that, all in their package if you want to read it or whatever. But what I would really like to talk about is, we did have a meeting, when was that? That was March 25th. And that meeting got started off with the London mayor showing up to do a delegation. And he talked about, Mayor Morgan talked about moving forward for next year's London budget. He wants to find, they do a multi-year budget. He wants to find $50 million a year. And he thinks their council can probably come up with half of that. So he's going around to talk to each of the shared services, not to tell them exactly what to do, because he says each one's different. I want you to just hear me and do what you can do to find some cost savings. So they're allowed about a 30-minute delegation, and I believe it went on for a good 40, 45 minutes, but it was well worthwhile having them there. And if you've heard me talk over the last couple of years, and when I've been at Perth South or South Huron, what I hear all the time is, what can we say about it? Because, that weighted average, London carries it. So when all the questions were finished asking, I did say to the mayor, I said, thanked him for coming and making his delegation. I says, I am completely convinced that the board heard you. I know the staff sitting here all heard you. And coming from a small rural community, what I've heard with some of the other small partners that I deal with, that we don't have any control of the budget because of the weighted average. And so I really appreciate you coming here to speak your words. And then he left and everything was good. But I think it's important for when I, because that's what I get when I'm at Perth South. That's what I get when I'm here in St. Mary's. That's what the mayor gets all the time, is this lack of, with the weighted averages. So I thought it was extremely good that he was there. He was hoping to get numbers down in that 5% range, in that single digits or whatever. Might be a wishy-washy dream, but anyways, he was there. Anyways, I thought that was extremely well done to have him there at the meeting to do that. So now if I can move on, I don't think there was too much else happened after that. PAC, March 17th. Yes, there was at the PAC meeting, we did have the draft plan of condominium, which we've already looked after tonight. And then the second thing that we looked at was the rezoning of West Ward School. We've got 3 buildings there, plus the original building that's slightly modified. In the northeast corner, so that's really down close, almost across from the car wash. They want to put a 4th building, or an extra building there, 9 units. And there wasn't really any strong complaints from any of the neighbors or Upper Thames or anything else, because it's actually the south end where the water line comes, so that wasn't an issue. So the PAC passed it, and it will be coming to council, I guess, the first meeting in May. So I don't think I have anything else to report there. There was no community liaison committee meeting, so there's nothing there. Minor hockey, the next meeting will be the AGM. They had a meeting, I was there just a week or so ago. And they're still looking for some volunteers to get on the board, because there's people have been on the board for quite a few years, and maybe their children are getting out of hockey now and they're looking for, anyways, they're trying to fill those positions. But what I would like to say is they do it's nice going to these meetings and getting, knowing how financially solid they are. They had $720,000 worth of revenue brought in this year. And at the end of the year, they're going to be, year ends March 31st, so they just had their year end. So they think these numbers are plus or minus $1,000, but they're going to have like slightly over $21,000 in profit for the year. So the decision was made that for next year that there's going to be no fee increases, and that should take that down to 0 or a slight negative dollar value. But for these volunteers, I mean, I want you to understand that it's a lot of money for volunteers to be looking at for revenue. PRC, the ice cost, that's $415,000, $70,000 for trainers, $80,000 in referees. I mean, they do, and there's a lot of them. There's 25 to 30, so it is a good job. So I give them lots of kudos, that board. The Lincolns, same night, they had a meeting the same night as as we had our, what am I trying to think of? All our associations meeting. So I snuck out and I got to attend, and I was there because I noticed on their agenda, one of the things was the ISA location, and because they lost a Sunday time, didn't lose it, they got taken away from the afternoon to the later evening, and it's not sitting well with, could be players, could be coaches. Anyways, we're trying to arrange some meetings right now. In fact, we just got one arranged today. There's 2 meetings actually. One to deal mainly with Lincolns, and another one to deal with negotiation of ISA location, because this was just a first step. So one has been arranged, and the other is getting very difficult to arrange with the Lincolns, mainly because of maybe it's the playoffs where they currently have 3-0, but trying to get people working involved at the same time is coming to be somewhat of an issue. So don't think there's too much more I want to say about that. We're working together. I think everything's going well at the Lincoln Games. I think staff has done a great job. They've done got somebody in to look at the audio, and the audio was very good last night compared to what I've seen it in the last year. So I think everything's been running pretty well. And I think that's enough.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Councillor Craigmile? Okay, Councillor Edney, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple things on my thing here. Let's start with the Baseball Hall of Fame. Staff are preparing for the May 1st opening. Despite not being officially open, March break saw a record number of tours come through the hall. The intern that they had working there decided to do a little bit of outreach because last year we had a number of tours through March break, and it did quite well, including hockey teams that were playing in town. So it went quite well. The hall held an event for Women's Day, a virtual panel of women in baseball. It was extremely well attended with lots of interaction. Plans for similar events have begun with different themes, and there will be another panel for next year. The attendance was 125, but it was noted that most screens had groups viewing, so it was probably quite in excess of that. There are 2 new board members as we have people finishing their terms or leaving because of other obligations. It's hard work, but I managed to get to the Jays home opener for the 2nd year running. Somebody's got to do it. You know, I stepped up. And this is the exciting thing. We actually have a citizens group in town here who are proposing to put together a pavilion that the hall has dreamed of for many years. It's a group of builders, designers. It's pretty much everyone in the community came together, and they're looking to see what it would cost. So that's being explored right now, and everyone has a very positive frame of mind about it. So exciting to see where that goes. Lastly, mobility service. My original sentence here was next Tuesday, I will miss the SPC to attend, but apparently I won't be missing anything. I will be attending the fan shop presentation. The top 4 projects from the project will be presented that day. And it's exciting. We also, through that same process, had some students who produce media production type of thing, produce an excellent, and I've yet to see it, but I believe our mayor has seen it, a wonderful production that we can use for granting, for simply advertising. So I'm excited to see that because that'll be on display as well. Amber attended an engagement session for the HPHA strategic goals and objectives, and we too have welcomed a new board member from Perth South. And that's what I have to report.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Edney. Any questions? Councillor Luna, please.
Thank you, Worship. The health unit is meeting this Friday. Still measles are increasing in the counties. It seems like every other day I'm getting an email with new exposure locations, and I pass them on to council just so that you're aware. So it's alive and well in Perth and Huron counties. Spruce Lodge Board, we did approve we adopted the strategic plan that the consultant had presented to us. Perth Municipal Association, we had a meeting yesterday, and we've settled on the theme of connect, engage, and collaborate. This is for the event in November, and we're trying to get guest speakers right now. So far, we've got a farmers association, someone from the indigenous community, and I'm trying to get somebody from AMO, but I'm having trouble with that. And I think that was all I had.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Councillor Luna? Okay, Councillor Lucas, please.
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, Spruce Lodge, Marg had talked about that. I will mention that part of our strategic plan was to have a focus on some possible dementia-specific programming over there, which is, it's interesting the way the facility is designed and made. It's quite suitable for what they're looking at doing. So part of that strategic plan was taking some capital money that was donated to us a couple years ago and implementing this program. So it's kind of exciting to see the dementia thing is front of mind for lots of people. So I think that's encouraging to see. Heritage Committee, we had no meeting in March. PAC Committee, Councillor Craig Mile talked about, again, I would throw my hat and say I support the development of what's going on up there. And it's not necessarily a rezoning, it's just a zoning amendment to increase some units from 23 to 32. So again, I think that's awesome for our community to have more housing. And then Chamber of Commerce, last meeting we just had our budget approval. Not much else going on there. We'll make mention the candidates debates April 15th for the federal election from 7 to 9 at the Rotary Complex in Stratford. So anybody that's interested or the public wants to be part of that, watch that debate. I believe it's being streamed and I'm not sure on what platform, probably Rogers, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then the other thing I would just mention about Chamber is the mayor and I are attending the Stratford Mayor's State of the Union address, I guess that's what we call it, tomorrow morning. So we'll see what's going on in Stratford and we can report back. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, Councillor Pridham, please.
Thank you. Not a lot for me this month, so just the library board, which was meeting just recently, and we're going through the library policies in a review. Every year we have to review them, so they bring forth a few of the policies and we look at those. The other thing that's come up is the value that a library brings to a community. There's an actual, I don't know what you would call it, something that you put all your data into and it comes up with some numbers of value in all the different categories. And it's called VOLT, which is Value Ontario Public Library Review. And that will come to council, I'm not sure when, but the intent is to bring it to council. I had the opportunity to look at this report in detail, and I do have some questions about it, so I will reach out to Sarah and ask some questions about some of those numbers and such. And anyway, that is about all I've got.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Okay, Councillor Albert, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. The Green Advisory Committee met March 20th at 5:30 p.m. I will just address in the opening, I've just noticed in the minutes now, it actually lists Councillor Pridham as sitting on this committee, and I'm pretty sure you don't, but if you do, you've missed a lot of meetings. Furthermore, we had a presentation from, come on, man. We had a presentation on the draft energy conservation and demand management plan. The only real feedback the committee had was just to continue using the lens that the staff employs to reduce energy consumption in all of our future projects. We also had a presentation, I can't find her name in here. Enbridge, yeah. We had a presentation from Enbridge. Mary Tsai gave us a detailed presentation on how they work with municipalities on their various programs and some of the programs that they've conducted in the past just sort of to help municipalities increase energy efficiency in their various projects. So that concludes that meeting. The BIA has not met previously since my last report, but the AGM is this coming Monday at NINA's at 6:30. I would encourage any local business owners or building owners and anybody in the membership to attend. This is probably a bigger AGM, I think, of interest to the community than previous years. And the final thing is the Adult Learning Center Subcommittee, which I do sit on. We had a meeting and we went through their annual file review was completed, and essentially there were no issues. They just give samples of some of their files, make sure they're all good. There's an in-person assessment, and they've been approved to go paperless, which I guess they've been asking for quite a while. The second part is a monitoring review report. It asks like a long series of questions. Like I think it was almost 30 to 50 questions or something, just detailing sort of day-to-day operations and how they feel things are going is sort of the report that we got. They also submitted their business plan to the ministry, and as well as the service agreement. Both are approved. They gave us an update on the program relocation, and actually, being upstairs, the library has seemingly increased walk-ins from their previous sort of satellite location, which I found very interesting. I guess just being upstairs just makes it easier access. And the Stratford location for the Adult Learning Center is currently changing due to some, the Conestoga College is moving from the hospital in June. So that is all that I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, so I'll put the motion on the floor then that committee and board minutes listed under agenda items 9.1.1 to 9.1.7 and 9.2.1 to 9.2.13 be received, and that the verbal updates provided by council represented on these committee and board meetings be received, and that agenda item 12.2.8 be raised for consideration. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Edney, seconded Councillor Pridham. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. So as previously mentioned, there is the one item from the minutes with regards to a call for a public meeting from the Planning Committee, and I'll put the motion on the floor. The council proceed with a public meeting to consider the zoning bylaw amendment application for 121 Ontario Street South. Someone willing to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Craigmile, seconded by Councillor Lucas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, under item 13, I have nothing under emergent or unfinished business, no notices of motion, which leads us to item 15, which is bylaws. The suggested motion being that bylaw 20-2025 be read a first, second, and third time be finally passed by council and signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. So I'm willing to move that motion. Moved by Councillor Luna, seconded by Councillor Edney. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Under upcoming meetings, of course, Deputy Mayor Brogan mentioned the BIA AGM on April 14th at Nana's restaurant, I believe it is. And April 15th, Strategic Priorities Committee has been canceled, just for anyone that is aware. So we will move on to April 22nd, which is a regular meeting of council. Any other meetings of note? Okay, seeing nothing then, we'll move on to our confirmation bylaw, item number 17. The suggested motion of bylaw 21-2025 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 8th, 2025 regular council meeting be read a first, second, and third time be finally passed by council and signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Someone going to move that motion? Moved by Councillor Allward, seconded by Councillor Pridham. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Which leads us to adjournment. The suggested motion of this regular meeting of council be adjourned at 7:36 p.m. So I'm going to move that. Moved by Councillor Craigmile, seconder, Councillor Allward. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you for the